Yeah, it's waking up time. Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping in so much, but there's no way I'd get up from this. Look at this. Oh my gosh, why would I ever get up? This is the best. Why would I ever get up? Hey, dude. Oh my gosh, both cats are on me. There's no way I'm getting up today. This is too much relaxation. All right, I did not study yesterday, so I'm starting the day off with some studying. So here we go. Whoever watches this, which is probably honestly just going to be me, is going to learn a little bit about insurance. So this is all about fraud. What is false pretense fraud? False pretense fraud is a specific kind of fraud in which you misrepresent a piece of like a legitimate transaction. So if you came into like a car dealership and you said you were someone else, or you presented financial documents that were inaccurate, and then the car was given to you based on that information, that would be false pretense fraud, because the transaction was like carried out fine. You didn't really steal anything. You just presented information that then another party acted on in a fraudulent way. What is conversion coverage? Conversion coverage, I think, applies to leases. I'm going to be honest. If someone takes a lease and then they just don't return it, I think it's conversion coverage. Let's look. I was right. Conversion coverage is for leases where someone leases a thing and then just doesn't pay for it and then they just leave. So a lot of this happens in like auto insurance, is people like lease a car and then they just ship it overseas and disappear forever. And that's a big piece of auto fraud. Occurrence-based versus discovery-based policies. Occurrence is anything that occurs during the time, even when the policy expires. Discovery is anything that's discovered during the time. In general, in insurance, everything tends to be discovery because that makes the most sense. When the underwriter reviews the file, they ask you all the questions about what happens like prior, and then, you know, it's kind of on them. If they didn't ask the right questions, they didn't figure out, then too bad, so sad, they cover the loss. And that tends to be the fairest way to do it. Like, occurrence-based is pretty hard to do, and there's statute of limitations that apply. It's really messy, so discovery is kind of easier for everybody. What is a superseded suretyship? What conditions have to be met? Okay, so we got things to talk about here. A surety is in which one party vouches for the conduct of another party. So the big one is that it happens in construction all the time. It's like big construction projects. Construction places will be like, hey, we're going to build this thing, and they get insurance against bankruptcy. Because if they bankrupt while building a bridge, the bridge is half built, the community already paid for it. It's a huge problem. So that's what a surety is. A superseded suretyship is one in which I'm going to guess someone else takes over the surety. Let's see. Okay, kind of. It's basically like when an occurrence occurs over a period of time, all the policies that applied in that time would respond. So if there's multiple insurers, they would all respond. So aspects of the surety are superseded. It's pretty interesting. Insurance is really interesting. I'm just getting changed to go to the gym here, but I got to show you guys something silly here. Felix always goes for him, and he just like meows in here. So he's just here and he's like, this is my emotional distress bathroom. It's where I go to freak out. And he usually just sits in there like on the counter. It's very funny. Not that it's funny that he's sad, but it's funny that he has like a little room to be sad in. Okay, so I watched Louis Theroux's new documentary, The Manosphere, yesterday, and I do not know what to think of it, man. Like, it's very classic Louis Theroux in the sense that he kind of like goes and like meets a unique or marginalized population, and then he kind of just like open ends it and kind of lets them talk with asking very minimal questions, and it's up to like the viewer to interpret it. But it does kind of come across like, I don't know, there's so many pieces to it that's fascinating. Like the first one is like, it does come across a bit bad faith, because at the end he just kind of like does these little snarky remarks where he's like, oh yes, and then this guy got arrested, and it's like, oh, so you were kind of like being sneaky and subversive with him. Like that's kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. But to summarize the manosphere, it's all about like toxic masculinity influencers. And so he goes and visits these guys who are like really aggressive and really misogynistic on social media. And he kind of explores like why they do it, how they make their money, stuff like that. And the best part of it is they go to like this guy, HS Tiki Taki. They go to his house and his mom is there. And his mom is the best part of that documentary. She feels like the only real person. It feels like HS Tiki Taki kind of hates Louis. It feels like Louis kind of trying to make this like subversive hit piece type thing. But then HS Tiki Taki's mom is just like a normal person. Felix is just losing his mind. What, is he in the bathroom? Your existential bathroom. I love you, dude. Okay, yeah, HS Tiki Taki's mom is so like and so Louis like, hey, are you okay with all the misogynistic stuff your son is saying? And then the mom is like, okay, like no one ever 100% agrees with their kids. He's 23 years old and he's exploring and being self-expansive. He's going to say things that are foolish. And then she's like, well, and then Louis is like, well, then HS Tiki Taki's mom is like, and then you're making a documentary about him. So, like, he's saying all this stuff, and you're making money off of him. So it seems like you're exploitative. And she was just, like, so fire in, like, what she said. It was so well considered, and, like, it was just very realistic. There wasn't any, like, delusional, subversive nature to it. It was just very, like, respectful of everybody. She was the best part of that documentary by far. It was really interesting. But it also makes me think about, like it begs the question for like the viewer to consider, like, why are toxic masculinity things like popular? Which, by the way, pretty cool that I have a vlog and I'm not toxic masculinity, by the way. That's pretty cool. But I think about that interestingly, because I think about that with insurance too. Is like, I think you work with the knowledge that you know to be true, and then everything outside of that is questionable about whether or not it's true. And so there's things that are like stepwise down that sequence of gain knowledge that you need to gain before you can understand the validity of what it is. And teenagers obviously have less of that. And so when you look at someone that's toxic masculinity, who's like, you know, making some sense like transactional relationships with OnlyFans people, or like being exploitative in kind of investing or cryptocurrency scams, those things are very easy to understand to like a teenager. Whereas like my job, where it's like, oh yes, working in insurance, like that's so insanely abstract. Like, first off, just the technical nature of it's really hard. The amount of money in it's hard. How do you get into it? That's hard. Is the scheduling good, preferable? That's hard for a teenager to understand. Like, and so it's kind of interesting to think like, it's not necessarily that perhaps the masochistic or misogynist aspect of this is like compelling to teenagers, but more so the congruence with like their lived experience in some sense. It's a really weird documentary. I don't think it's his best, but it does make you think about things in a way. Interesting, man. Interesting movie. Parallel parked between these two cars, and it was a huge pain in the butt to parallel park them, and then both of the drivers came out and they're moving their cars right now. That's just pretty funny. Oh man. Back in the gym today for chest day. Dude, I did nothing yesterday. I laid on the couch all day and I ate a pancake. And what's funny is like I wanted to work out yesterday, I just didn't want to drive, and now today I'm like, I can drive but I don't want to work out. We'll see how this goes. Ooh. That was an awesome workout. What a pump. Also, okay, the dips. I've never even dipped my body weight before, like a couple weeks ago. And now I'm dipping plus 10 pounds. I'm so pumped about that. That's a huge PR and I'm excited. Also, I saw a friend from high school in there, David. I haven't seen him in 20 years. That's crazy. By the way, he said I was looking really good, so we gotta take that for what it is. But it was wonderful. It was so good to see him. Hit the perfect time, because I mean obviously my life has been a little crazy lately, a little bit depressed, so it's nice to see somebody that you care about, you know. Anyways, off to the bank now. Talk about house selling stuff, and then I gotta get some food. Oh, I can't remember if I mentioned my rock climbing partner hurt his back, so I'm climbing with somebody new today. We'll see how that goes. Alright, finished the bank meeting. Now I'm off to the climbing studio. Climbing with a new partner. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that, but yeah. The bank. By the way, I do not like my banker at all. But this is like my second bank too, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are all banks just frustrating? But whatever. Time for the long walk back to my car. I left my shoes in the car, so they're frozen like rocks. Feel like rocks. Oh, I forgot to vlog after. But I went climbing with, oh my gosh, the cat's hunting another mouse. You've got to be kidding me. Are you guys? Okay, anyway. So I went climbing. I met my climbing partner there, Joe, the new guy. I feel so bad. He was like 100 pounds and he had to like clip into the bags and oh my gosh, I felt so bad. It was a good climber though. We did some good session. That was pretty good. I just came home and ate some food. I watched Don't Die today. It's a documentary about longevity research. Longevity research is very like in vogue contemporarily, which I find interesting. What I also find interesting is I'm not super familiar with it, but it seems to be just like common sense stuff like work out, get enough sleep, eat your veggies, like the stuff that like, yeah, like that makes sense. Pretty interesting. But so I think about this a lot. Is that like I think kinesiology is kind of underfunded as a public health good, because I think like something you talk about in university for kinesiology is like it's the number one medical intervention. It like helps with everything, and it's like arguably free, and there's no side effects except other good things. So like it would be interesting to see kind of more of a medical investigation or investment into it. Felix is having an existential crisis here. I don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, anyways, what a good day. Tomorrow, I'm going to my first EDM concert tomorrow. I'm actually super excited about that. I've always wanted to go to one, but it's like there's not a lot going on in Saskatoon, so this will be really cool.